Hello class. In this session we are going for classical encryption techniques. These are the basic techniques which needs to be studied because these are the basic building blocks for your modern cryptographic techniques. Whichever are the techniques you are using so far in the day-to-day life, for example, it may be some DES algorithm, it may be some AES algorithm, or it may be some RSA algorithm. You need to have some basic idea of your encryption techniques, and these can get covered with the classical technologies. Why the name is classical given? Actually, we are using many of the cryptographic techniques since from a long period. In ancient years also you can find it out that there are certain encryption techniques. What are those methodologies? We can find it out with certain cases. These are actually some interesting examples. But these are known to be some of the classical encryption techniques. Now out of this one, there is the first category. I would like to say that it's a substitution cipher or the classical substitution cipher. So what exactly happens with this classical substitution cipher is that a character or the letter of your plain text is replaced by the other letter itself. So if you are using any character or a symbol or a number or a digit or whatever is your say particular figure, and if you want to replace it by someone else, then you can say that, for example, I can say that X is called as the Y is called as the Z is called as the something as the P or whatever. Then whenever you will write down the script, then the replaced letters will be there, and obviously the original identity, original text will get hidden there. So here you can say that it's a replacement. So not only for the characters or the symbols or the numbers itself, if you are having some bit patterns, most of the times you may find that your number is converted into the ASCII character or some other character bits. And if you are having some bit patterns, then possibly you can have the bit pattern of the plain text can get replaced by the bit pattern of the ciphertext itself. So in that way you can have such precaution also. Now this is one of the idea for your dancing main cipher, which is the classical example. Actually this is the one of the story, well-known story available over the net by Sherlock Holmes, and the name of the story is Adventures of the Dancing Man. So what exactly happened that actually all of you are interested in the Sherlock Holmes story, and there was one mystery and Sherlock was trying to solve that particular mystery. At the time he received some of the cheats, and those cheats were given with some of the messages, and those messages have given certain clue for the particular story or the hero of the story Holmes to decode the message itself. So what exactly it was? It was some of the such type of the string was there, such type of the line of the symbols was there, and with these particular symbols the person tried, the Holmes tried to find out the particular message back. So in a sense I can say that, for example, if to represent A there is a symbol, this is one of the symbol. To represent B there is another symbol. So as to represent up to Z you are having some symbols. So right now we are considering letters A, B, C, D up to Z. That means we are having total 26 characters, or we are having a set of characters where the cardinality of the set is 26, which is the number of the elements in a set. So obviously if A is represented with this one, we need to have some different symbol for the B itself. Again, whatever the symbols you use for the A and B should be the different one for the C also. That means you are having all total 26 different symbols for the representation, and you can say that there is one-to-one mapping. So obviously if a character is there with this particular symbol or with this particular say figure, you can identify, definitely you can go for the decode that the letter must be the A, and in that way there is some substitution idea. For example, we'll have here one string for you. So this is the assignment for you. Can you decode this one? What exactly is this particular string? Can you guess? Please go ahead. So starting with this first one, Now first one, if you just have because most of the times if we are considering English like language or other conventional language, we are going from the left to the right for reading of your string, unless some specific patterns are there for some languages itself. So for the first letter, so what exactly is the letter? Now pick up this particular letter, find out in all possible bins for matching purpose. So the bin, you can say, the slot you can say there. Here if you go for the matching for this one, then matching for this one, then matching for this one. Now I'll come back to the brute force attack, because there are total 26 possibilities where a symbol can be matched. And whenever you'll go for the map, I'll say that there is a symbol W. So W is the particular figure you can identify. So we can guess that the first letter must be W. Similarly for the second one, find it out again. W already is having some figure, so remaining 25 we need to go for the guessing. Okay, we need to have a matching. So in that case, we may say that there is a symbol R, possibly this R is matched here. Then go for this one, definitely this is the I, then T and E. Now wait a minute. Now whenever we try to guess how much is the time required for W, say R, then possibly I, then once you have a string as the W, R, I, definitely you people may guess that the next symbol should be T itself, because you know that in your English word W, R, I, then T, E may be the possible word, because this is the known word already known to you. If this is the known word already known to you, then definitely I can say that this is one of the word available in your language or in your meta language or in your dictionary, and whoever is the person who knows the dictionary of your language, then definitely whatever is, this is the W-R-I-T-E, this is the first word. Out of this first word you are having total 5 letters. So how much is the time required to decode this one? It is not exactly big O of, or it is not to the proportional to the what is the size of your particular word, because you people are now in a position to find it out that if it is W-R-I, definitely it's the right is the word. So you can guess the particular word. This particular guessing I would refer as if it is the dictionary attack. We can come upon further for the dictionary attacks in our literature, but this is one of the very good example for your dictionary attack. Now you can say that it's a R-I-T-E, then you are going for this symbol as this is the C, and then this is going for the O. This is the right code breaker is one of the string what is given there. Now you can find out there is another observation that there is a symbol who is having some flag in a hand. This is the first symbol, or possibly you may have here another symbol. So what exactly it says? Yes, absolutely right. You can say that though there is a particular string you are having which is formed with various words, we are not observing any of the space in between two words. So to indicate that this is the end of the first word and this is the end of the second word, rather the flag might be there. So in that way we can have here the decoding itself. So that is the idea whenever we can say that the letters are substituted, and you can have here this is the decrypted string, and these decrypted strings afterwards you can go for finding out the plain text itself. Now what are those substitution techniques? So in all we need to find out total 6 categories for the study purpose in this particular session. First one is the Caesar cipher, second is the monoalphabetic, third one is the Playfair, Hill, polyalphabetic and one-time pad. Actually, though the names monoalphabetic and polyalphabetic are given for a specific cipher in this particular idea, let me tell you one of the basic difference in monoalphabetic and the polyalphabetic, because though the specific name is here given, Caesar itself is also the monoalphabetic by technique itself, not by name. This is by name and this is by technique. So what is the technique? I can say that in a case of your monoalphabetic, a single plain text is converted to a single cipher text. That means there is an operation only on a single plaintext symbol or a digit or a letter or the alphabet. To the contrast, whenever we'll move to the polyalphabetic, it says that more than one letters or the digits or the symbols are operated together. So it's a poly idea. So poly plaintext can get converted into the poly ciphertext. Maybe the size of the plaintext is equal to the size of your cipher itself. So right now we are going for very simple idea that whatever is the size of your plaintext is exactly equal to the size of your ciphertext. Now further we will go for some dynamic methods wherever the size mismatch. Actually those are very critical methods whenever we need to go for the deciphering or having certain decryption for this one. So now I think you are clear with the idea what is the monoalphabetic and the polyalphabetic. In the case of mono, the sample set is only a single one, where in the polyalphabetic the sample set is a group of 2 or 3 or some poly elements together. So actually in the polyalphabetic cipher, this is actually providing you some higher security, because if you are taking two letters together and if the group is somewhat changing, for example if I have a letter A and B, and to the contrast, if I have a letter A and C as the second tuple, then in that case, the whatever is the combination of the AB and a cipher for this one, the combination for the AC and a cipher for this one, the letter A for couple AB and letter A in the couple of say AC, those two letters A are getting in some different ciphers in case of your poly. So what exactly it is saying? I'll give you with some example, with some idea in further situations. Okay. Now here when we are studying for the first one, which is the Caesar cipher. Now Caesar cipher is actually a well-known cipher technique known as the or it is developed by Julius Caesar, and it is said that the third letter from the position itself is taken for the replacement. So A is converted to B is the second, C is the third, and D is the fourth. So A is converted to the +3, that is the D as the letter. Or for example, if M is the letter, M +3 you can go for as the P itself as the letter. E can go for the H because it's a +3 letter. You can find that this E and this E, both E are having the same cipher because you are having the fixed idea for the changing of the letters. I can clarify the idea in with position notation here. Say I have A, B, C, D up to Z. Say the position of A is 0, the position of B is 1. In a similar fashion, we can find out the position of the Z is 25. So you are having A to Z as 0 to 25 as the slots, and the positions are taken into account. So if I say that if I want to go for the P as the plaintext for the encryption, what will be the cipher? Mind well, in the previous slide also I have given one of the notational idea that always we are writing plain text into the small letters and we are writing cipher text into the capital letters. This is just the assumption, or this is just the notational idea what we are referring for this particular session. Because every time instead of writing plain text and a cipher text, you can just understand what is the plain text in the small letters and what is the cipher text is in the capital letters. Whatever are the spaces, we have separated out spaces for the understanding purpose, but many of the times the particular string is taken as if it is the continuous string. No say gaps are taken out there to avoid the further complexity in your understanding. So this is the classical example again in the from the situation. Most of the situations are taken in the particular book from the World War II cases. So meet after the Toga party. So MEET is converted into that. So how it is converted? We can say that this is the equational background for this one. Plain text plus key. So what is the key? Now here you can say that the shift of the three letters is considered as the particular key. So A is converted to D. So B is converted to E. So plain text position, you can P as considered as the plain text position plus 3 by default. Mind well, by default for your Caesar the key size is 3. unless and until specified. If it is specifically mentioned that the key size is something, say 5 or 10 or whatever, you can use this one. But if it is not given, then by default Caesar is supposed to utilize the key as the k is equal to 3. So you can say that the first, say if a is there, 0 plus 3, it goes for here 3, so a is converted to d. In that way you can have here the equation, and in a similar manner you can go for the decryption. This is the equational idea. So for cipher you will observe, you can go for the minus key and you can find out the plaintext again, or the position of your plaintext again. The positions are the fixed, you can have that one of the codebook assumption wherever the positions are given. Now what exactly is the idea, or why we are using the mod of 26? So again you can say that definitely if you are using say characters from A to Z, then for example, so if you are going for W as the Z, because W plus 3 as the Z, you can just look at that particular rows here. So what should be the label for X again? So after Z what comes? So you need to go for the clockwise arrangement. It's a clockwise arithmetic. So after Z there is A again, then B is there, and that's why you need to go for here the mod of 26 as one of the necessary operation. Don't forget that this is very necessary operation to find out the cipher and the plaintext back. Now if we try to find out what is the cryptanalysis for the Caesar cipher. Cryptanalysis, again I will say that these are the number of attempts to break down the particular code. So you can find it out that okay, right now we have seen that A is changed to D as the letter, that is the plus 3 was the particular key. So instead we can have the number of keys. How many keys are there? The key may be 0 shift is also possible, 1 shift may be also possible, or likewise you can have total 26 shifts are there. So in a way you are having total different 26 possible options for your key itself, and that's why we can say that your key space for the Caesar cipher is the 26. So that is the idea. If you are going for the brute force search, then definitely you can try each and every key in turn, and wherever you will go for some resemblance of your plaintext. Of course you can say that this is the known plaintext attack, because which out of these total 26 say particular letters or particular strings what you are retrieved back because of the brute force, which exactly is the US one, you need to find it out. That means you are knowing the plaintext here. So in that way you can just label it out that the Caesar cipher is having the security or the cryptanalysis, which is say 26 possible keys are there, which is the alternative keys are there, and this is actually the minimal one, but this is to understand what exactly is the substitution cipher. Caesar cipher is not sufficient to work for, so we are having some extension for the Caesar cipher. One of the assignment, what we can label it out as the affine Caesar cipher. I want you people to think over this affine Caesar cipher. I'll give you this idea, and afterwards, after you are having certain say workout over this one, we can have the detailing of this affine Caesar cipher. So here we are having in a case that encryption is given for the plaintext position, and there are, instead of a single element, there are two elements involved. These two elements are with certain numbers. Right now we will consider those are the numbers, or rather these two are the integers. So suppose A and B are two integers. So I will just try to expand this particular equation, which gives me A multiplied by B plus B, and it is giving me the mod of 26. So I can have the encryption in that fashion. For example, I'll say that the example says that suppose I have A is equal to 2 and B is equal to 3. So AB is taken as a 2, 3, and plaintext you can find it out. For example, in the first word, I'll say that the plaintext is the 0. So for the 0, that means it is the letter A, because it is having the 0 as the position. So I'll say that 2, which is the 2 multiplied by 0 plus, what is the B? It's a 3. 3 mod 26, it is giving me the idea as the 3. And the same calculation, of course, I can find it out that if I take the A and B as the same value as the 2 and 3, so if my plaintext position is 13, then 13 multiplied by 2, which is 26, 26 again clockwise function plus B, again it is giving me 3. So I can have here the equational equivalence that if I go for the plain text 0 or if I have a plain text 13, both are having the result as the 3. So actually this is unwanted situation for me, and that's why I can write it down that whatever is the requirement for the encryption, if whatever is the K you are using, K we can say that it's a key. So K key for the plain text position P and the plain text position Q, if you are going for such function, then this should not give me the same result. We want the collision free function. Right now we can consider E as the encryption function. Obviously we can go on increasing the complexity of this mathematical function. For this Caesar it's a simple one, but we want that this should not result into a single value. Now you can find out this is a single value. That means you are observing some collision here, and we don't want any collision in the particular result. So we need to apply such particular collisions. We need to avoid such particular collisions, and that's why there are certain questions for you that you need to find out what are the limitations for the values of B if values of A's are known there, or what are the possible values of A for this one. So think over this one. Obviously, what is the encryption you are using? Earlier also we have given one of the idea that it should be one-to-one function. That means if 3 is the result, from 3 you need to retrieve back the plain text, and it should be a single one. Either it should be a 0 or 13, but in this situation it's a both. It's a 0 as well as 13, maybe 26 also, maybe further also there are certain collisions. So here what we understood that we need to avoid certain say collisions, and we need to go for formation of such mathematical functions. Now the next category is monoalphabetic cipher. What is different here for the Caesar cipher? In case of your Caesar cipher, what you did that you kept the key as the fixed one. By default, though it's a 3, you can say that there is a shift of either 0 or 1 or 2 or up to 26 is there. It means the shift size is the fixed one. But now rather than having a fixed shift, you may have some different shifts for each and every letter. So you need to have certain shuffling or some jumbling of the letters, and which is actually in the arbitrary manner. So for exactly we can say that the plain text letter maps to different random ciphertext letters. For example, if A is there, A is changed to D, which is fixed, which is known, which is kept in the codebook. B is mapped to K, which is always actually. So C is actually converted into V. So this is the, if you are having the plain text size or the possible letters in your plain text is the 26. If your cardinality of your set, that is the input set, is 26, then for sure the cardinality of your key element should also be 26. There is no option. So you need to have the same size of your key what you are giving. So for example, if my plain text is if we wish to replace letters, this is the one of the plain text. So for I, what should be the cipher? Now for this one you need to check the code book. This is the code book or the manual, you can find it out. Now for I, there is a replacement as the W. So you can say that I is replaced to W. So as for F, where is the F? You can find out the F here. What is the replacement? I is there. So you can say that I is the replacement. That means you need to keep this particular code book as the very confidential one. Wherever this book is there, wherever this reference is there, if this is kept somewhat secret, then definitely whatever is the plain text you are giving for, whatever is the combination of your letters in your plain text is there, definitely the cipher will be there. So in that case, I can say that A is changed to D. There is an option. That means for A, there is the option of total 26 options are there to have a replacement. Now you are going for the B. What option is given for A? Now you have to discard this, so that there are 25 remaining options for the replacement for the B. So as if I go for the C, then there are only 24 options for the replacement of the C. So A is having 26 options, so as B is having 25 options, C is having 24 options, so as D is having 23 options, so as the last is having only a single option. So in that way, if we need to go for having the comment on the monoalphabetic cipher and the security for this one, it is going for the 26 factorial. So this number goes on in that this is the key space for the monoalphabetic. It is equal to 26 options multiplied by 25 options multiplied by 24 options, so as it's a 26 factorial as the thing. Actually, if you compare the Caesar cipher and the monoalphabetic, in the case of your Caesar cipher, the complexity was big O of 26 only, and now here the big O of 26 factorial, and finding out the resultant value, there is a very large difference in the Caesar cipher and the monoalphabetic cipher security. However, we should not comment that it is giving me the complete security, because there is a comment that even though the number of keys are increased, the security what we are observing, that security is not up to the mark. Why it is not up to the mark? We can find out, or we can have some help of some, say, frequency table. What happens that I'll give you one of the idea for the frequency table. I'll come back to the earlier slide. So I can say that there are certain researchers, and those researchers try to find out what are the occurrences, or what is the frequency of the occurrences of every particular character in a specific or in a typical conversation. So in the typical conversation, maybe it's a paragraph, maybe it's a complete, say, chapter or whatever is there, with certain trial and errors, some frequency table is given, and this is one of the frequency level table I'll try to share with you. So say on the x-axis, A, B, C, D up to Z, these elements are marked, and now the observation is there for the occurrence of the frequency, percentage occurrence of the frequency rather, I can say, because I need to go for a certain unit here in the percentage format, and this particular example is taken for the English language. If it is some other language, obviously this value may get changed. So the interpretation of this graph is that in a particular English language, the occurrence of A is somewhat 8%. Obviously, the value of B is coming somewhat as the 1 point something as the percentage. Obviously, if E is there, the highest occurrence for the character E is there, and lowest occurrence of the character Z is there. So obviously, if there is some one-to-one replacement from plain text to the ciphertext, in the ciphertext, finding out the well-known attack of the ciphertext attack only, you can find out what is the frequency capture of the cipher and find out the letter and map this letter to the frequency of your particular frequency table what is given in this particular figure, and finding out the mapping, you can guess that what exactly is the word or what exactly is the letter. For example, I can say that some of the frequencies occur very less, or some of the frequencies occur very high, and if you go for drawing some peaks and say valleys for a graph, then where exactly the letter say fits, according to you can guess what letter is there. So instead of having a single letter and a frequency for this one, you may have a double letters together, for which we can call as the diagraph, or the three letters together as the trigraph or the chord graph are there, and you can plot the frequencies, and for these frequencies you can find out this is the single or the double, that is the diagraph or the trigraph or the chord graph or the n graphs are there, and what is the frequency is there. Suppose I can say that A is the character, or an is, which is the double letter, or the, the is there. So obviously it is the one letter and the two letter and the three letters are there. So most of the times THE occurs frequently. So what is the frequency of the occurring of that particular trigram, that is the three letter gram? We can find out certain frequencies and we can guess there. So ultimately such type of the guessings are there, and those guessings I would like to go for one of the example here. This example says that suppose this is the ciphertext is there, and with this ciphertext it is observed that letter P and Z are there, which is having some mapping to the occurrence of the frequency to the letter E and T. So in that way the particular cipher is decoded, and that decoding is given in the form of your plain text again back. So if we discovered yesterday that the several informal but direct contexts, okay, blah blah blah, such plain text are there. So you need to find it out. Again, there is an example in a similar fashion. So in a substitution cipher, if the attack is there, again I am specifying the attack, which is the ciphertext attack, because you are knowing only the cipher, and finding out the frequency, what is the frequency of B or what is the frequency of the two letters or whatever, you are able to go for having the decoding. And what I said about the diagrams or the diagrams or the engrams are there, this concept you can understand here in a very good, the very clear format.